Hi everyone, it's Laura here, and in today's video I'm going to share with you a bright and cheerful card that I created with the Inlay die cutting technique, and I will also be talking to you about a great initiative by Scrapbook.com. Let's have a quick look at the products that I'll be using today. We have this very nice sentiment stamp set by Scrapbook.com. It's called Cards for Kindness, and this is also the name of the initiative that I am joining today. We have the Nested Flowers Decorative die set, also by Scrapbook.com. And lastly, I'll be using this stencil. This is called Vintage Moroccan Stencil to create a little bit of texture on my card. I started by taking one of my flat cards by Scrapbook.com. These are sheets of Neenah Solar White 80 pounds cardstock already cut to the A2 size, so 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And in order to create a stitched detail all around, I am taping a die by Heffy Doodle to the card panel. I am using some purple tape and then I'm running everything through my die cutting machine, and this is the panel once we added that nice stitched detail. These card fronts are really handy because they make your card making even faster. Everything is ready and there are some pre-cut and pre-scored card bases too on Scrapbook.com, and I'll be using them today. So the next step was to create a little bit of extra texture on my card base, and for that I'm using Texture Paste by Ranger and this Vintage Moroccan Stencil. I secured the stencil to my card base using the Make Art Station. This is the 7 inches one and it's by Ranger. It's a new entry in my craft room. I've been using it for about a month and I am absolutely in love. There is also a larger version available, but I find the 7 by 7 inches size perfect for card making, and also it doesn't require a lot of storage space, which for me is a bonus. Once I was done applying the texture paste, I removed the stencil. I cleaned off the edges of my card front, being very careful not to smudge anything. And then I rinsed off the spatula and the stencil, and I cleaned my Make Art Station with a damp cloth. Next, I took another of those pre-cut panels of Neenah Solar White 80 pounds cardstock, and I'm going to die cut it using the Nested Flowers Decorative dies by Scrapbook.com. I wanted to create an inlay die cut effect, and that's why I'm nesting the dies already on my panel before running everything through my die cutting machine. This way basically I created individual frames, and I'm going to do some ink blending on all of them using Distress Oxides and my blending brushes. And in order to keep the card nice and cheerful, I decided to go for a rainbow color combination. The colors I used are dried marigold, squeezed lemonade, twisted citron, peacock feathers, shaded lilac and worn lipstick, and as I mentioned I'm using my blending brushes by Scrapbook.com to blend the inks on these die cuts so that I get a nice and smooth blend. And while I am ink blending all these die cuts, I wanted to talk to you about the Card for Kindness initiative by Scrapbook.com. As the name suggests, the aim is to bring a smile to people that are in need of an emotional boost, and I think that especially in these days this is a very important and very nice thing to do. You can join by sending your cards to Scrapbook.com. The cards need to be blank inside, and then they will be sent by Scrapbook.com to hospitals, shelters, retirement homes, children's homes and other organizations that might need them. And then the individual organizations will give the cards to people and bring them a smile this way. So I will have all the details in my blog and a link to the Scrapbook.com page as well there. You will find links to that in the description box down below. So I hope you will join, and if you do, just please stay safe because it's very important that you do these days. I'm not going to mention anything else about the current situation in the world, and I'm going to go back to the tutorial. Because I decided to use the inlay die cutting technique, I needed a base to adhere all my die cuts in place, as this makes things a little bit easier. So using the largest die in the Nested Flower set, I die cut some white cardstock. And then I started playing around with my die cuts a little bit, and if you shift them with respect to each other, you can create this gorgeous floral pattern. I actually ended up nesting them as they are, but I'm kind of regretting it now that I look at this because I think it's absolutely gorgeous and I really think I need to make another card and use that pattern instead. As I said though, for today's card I just nested the dies, sort of aligning them with each other. I'm using this base of scrap white cardstock and then I'm using some liquid adhesive to adhere them in place because I have enough time to move things around while the glue is still drying and get the alignment as precise as possible. This doesn't take very much at all, and this flower here will be the focal panel for my card. I then decided to stamp my sentiment directly on this floral pattern. The greeting comes from the Cards for Kindness stamp set by Scrapbook.com and I'm stamping it with premium hybrid black ink. In cases like this where we are stamping on a textured panel, I think using a stamp positioner is really important. In this case I'm using the Mini Misty and I stamped the image a couple of times. In those little notches between die cuts where the ink couldn't get through, I used a Copic multiliner so everything is nice and seamless. And then because every time I see a rainbow I think about a unicorn, I couldn't resist and I had to add a few images from the A Little Sparkle stamp set by Fawn. To separate the greeting from the background a little bit more, I also outlined it with a Sakura Jelly Roll pen. This is the size number 10, so it's nice and thick, and I am outlining the greeting on the left and the top portion, so it's almost like a drop shadow effect when the light is coming from the bottom right corner. At this point everything was ready and I could go ahead and adhere everything. I glued down the floral pattern a little bit shifted towards the top of my panel, and then I used the images as accents around the sentiment. Reverse tweezers are a great tool when it comes to dealing with small die cuts, like the little fairies that I'm gluing right now. And then obviously I had to add a little bit of sparkle with my Scrapbook.com glitter brush pen, which adds so much shine to the images. The last step was to adhere everything to my card base. In this case I'm using a pre-cut and pre-scored card base by Scrapbook.com. This is again Neenah Solar White 80 pounds cardstock and it is cut and scored so that the card front is A2 sized. Here is a close-up at the final result. As I said, this card was created to help Scrapbook.com promote their Cards for Kindness initiative, and I will have all the links in the description box down below in case you're interested in joining. As always, if you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and to let me know in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, you can subscribe to my channel for more card making and paper crafting inspiration. Thank you all so much for stopping by, stay safe and have a great day.